Hello, good afternoon. My name is Lucero Vargas and I am a student with Career Foundry. Today I will be presenting on how we can prepare for the upcoming influenza season. I do want to start off by saying welcome to our stakeholders, which is our medical agency frontline staff, hospital and clinic, influenza patients, and staffing agency administrators. Our motivation with this analysis was that the United States has an influenza season where more people than usual suffer from the flu. These are vulnerable populations that develop serious complications and end up in the hospital. Hospitals and clinics need additional staff to treat these patients. The objective was to determine which states have high vulnerable populations so we can adequately staff them. And the goal was to help medical staffing agency that provides temporary workers to hospitals on needed basis. Do we have a vulnerable population? Is the flu seasonal? The answer to both of these questions is yes. I have here created a bar chart that shows the total of deaths per the age groups. From this graph, we can see that there is a high death count with the 55-year-olds and older, and it continues to increase as the age gets older. So from 5 years old to 34 years old, we have 0 deaths. For 35 to 44-year-olds, we have 20. 45 to 54, we have 604. And then it jumps to 2,377 for the 55 and 64 years old. So we will categorize the vulnerable age group for 55-year-olds and older. With the flu season, in temperate climates, seasonal epidemics occur mainly during winter, while in tropical regions, influenza may occur throughout the year, causing outbreaks more irregularly. Influenza usually starts in early fall, around October, and continues into spring. The months of December through March are considered peak flu season. So when we are looking to send out that additional staff, we will send them out through that peak flu season, which is again December through March. Now, do deaths vary by state? Yes. Influenza cases vary by the state. This is because each state has a different population composition, meaning that some states will have more vulnerable populations. I have here included a graph of a map, and it shows the top 5 states that have the most deaths from influenza in order, which is California, which we can see right here, New York, Tennessee, Pennsylvania, and Florida. I have graphed these by color, so the higher populations have a darker shade of blue, and the higher death counts have a bigger circle, and they also have it darker. What is interesting is that Texas, which is a high population for the vulnerable age groups, have actual lower death counts, which we would be interested to review further on. We can also, here we didn't forget about Alaska. They do have 0 death counts from the years 2009 to 2017. Is there a relationship between high populations and death rates? Yes. There is a strong relationship between high population and high deaths for the vulnerable population. The correlation coefficient is 0.78. So we can see here it varies by year, but there is not much of a big significant increase or decrease in deaths by the states. They stay regularly the same. We do see here again that Texas has a high population, but they do not have a high death count. We do see here again California, number 1 for the deaths that occur with the vulnerable age group. We can see a forecast of populations increasing in the top 5 states with high death rates. As the populations continue to increase, so will the deaths for the vulnerable age groups. Here we have a forecast for the population, and these are for each state: California, Florida, New York, Pennsylvania, and Tennessee. And here is the death forecast for those 5 states, and as we can see, they're all around the same with high death rates. We have now come to our conclusion. To summarize, there is a vulnerable age groups of 55-year-olds and older, and there is also a strong relationship with high death rates to high population states. My following recommendations is to prioritize staffing to the top states that have high vulnerable population deaths, which are California, New York, Tennessee, Pennsylvania, and Florida. The most effective way to prevent the disease is vaccination. Safe and effective vaccines are available and have been used for more than 60 years. Immunity from vaccination wanes over time, so annual vaccination is recommended to protect against influenza, and this is recommended by the CDC. Additionally, the government can help prepare for the flu nationally by providing flu shots. The government can also educate the public about hand washing and being sanitary. Thank you for being with me in this presentation today. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to me via email. It will be included in the email thread that I will be sending out. In the email, we will also include data limitations that you could go over. Again, thank you for your time today and have a great rest of your day.